The last 24 hours have been quite interesting. What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with TechBot Solutions. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen the quick changes of direction. Really not for the NASDAQ market. We actually talked about it in today's live trading session with the LPP team, that markets were kind of slower. It wasn't until recently that now that market's broke into the green. But if you look at it, NASDAQ is up 0.08%. Still kind of trading slow. It's an overbought reversal. If it breaks this support, we'll drop right back into the red. You guys let me know down in the comment section what you are planning to do. Tomorrow is the FOMC rate decision. And according to the Fed rate monitor tool, let me go ahead and update it. There's an 85, almost 86% probability, according to this tool, that the Federal Reserve is going to cut interest rates by 25 basis points. I want to remind you, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time is when this report gets released. 30 minutes after, Jerome Powell goes live and begins to answer analyst questions. They are expecting a rate cut. But in today's live trading session, we also saw that what was released was, let me go ahead and pull it up here, was the JOLTS. It was the job openings. And job openings, why is it not showing up? Tuesday, here we go. Job openings show that more jobs were actually open than what was expected. Expectation was 7.2 million. We came in at 7.6. Expectation, if I'm not mistaken, was like 7.212 for October. We came in at 7.67. So correct me if I'm wrong, but that doesn't support a weaker labor market. That means more jobs are open and available. So how does that support a rate cut? Again, maybe just food for thought. That does support a stronger labor market, which then doesn't support more rate cuts. Because that's the whole reason that they've been begging the Fed to cut rates, is so we can boost our labor market, right? Because it's been so weak. But then now this kind of paints a different picture. But again, a conversation for another time. Another thing that also has been providing some volatility is what has been happening overnight. Originally, Trump says that he has called China's President Xi and approved sales of Nvidia's H200 chip to China. Trump says that 25% revenue will be paid to the US, so a tax, and the same approach will apply to AMD, Intel, and others. Shortly after, says China is moving to restrict access to Nvidia's H200 chips after President Trump approved their export. And it says China is to set limits to Nvidia's H200 chips despite President Trump's export approval. Buyers will likely be required to go through an approval process, submitting requests to purchase and explaining why domestic providers were unable to meet their need. Again, it's just making it harder to work with, is what China's trying to do, making it harder for them to work with companies outside of the US, which I get why China is doing that. But it's just so funny. Like, how many times this year have we gone back and forth with China on, hey, is Nvidia allowed to sell these chips or not? Now they're allowed, but then now they're being restricted. Wouldn't really surprise me if Trump ends up taking it back. US allows Nvidia's H200 chips exports to China. Smiling. China restricts access to Nvidia. I just thought this meme was so perfect because it happens so quick. On top of that, I wanted to make sure that you were aware. Today, Trump will announce the next Fed chair and deliver economic remarks today at 6:10 p.m. Eastern time. All eyes on Trump. The part that I didn't like about this is that this interview that recently got broadcasted is stating President Trump is asked if the new Fed chair will be expected to lower rates and immediately. And his response is yes. What happened to the independence of the Federal Reserve? Like, does this support the case that the Federal Reserve doesn't have its independence? Or is this just Trump acknowledging and agreeing that the person he is putting into power is directly being put in there because it is based off of his desires, which again is a conflict of the independence of the Federal Reserve? Just food for thought. Again, I know you guys don't like when I say things like that, but you know that if Biden did that, you would not be okay with it. And I voted for Trump, but when he does something that is not within the means or according to the way these, systems are put into place, it's like you have to call it out because it is not fair, right? And there is a conflict of interest there. But that's a conversation for another time. As of right now, NASDAQ market is holding up very well. We talked about this in our live trading session. We weren't very surprised that there was going to be a lot of volatility. Markets sold off a little bit yesterday, and they're picking up today. We'll see how we end up closing, right? As we get closer to the market close, Is volume going to be low? Is our markets upticking, or will we see a quick little correction into the close leading up to the FOMC rate decision? This is expected to be the last rate decision for 2025, and there is a big expectation that the Federal Reserve is going to be cutting rates by 25 basis points. So again, I do plan to live stream it on my channel, just another reason to subscribe. And don't forget, again, the group that gets to watch me trade live every morning is my LPP team. If you want to watch me trade live as soon as tomorrow, it's the second link in the description down below. I appreciate your time, and like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.